Okay, so today we're making these amazing spinach artichoke dip stuffed mushrooms. If you love mushrooms and you love spinach and artichoke dip, you are in the right spot. This is a great appetizer that I developed to go with Pinot Noir. So if you're a Pinot Noir lover, you are also in the right place. And I'm gonna get more into the wine part of that a little bit later, but let's start off with the mushrooms. So there's this whole myth on the internet. Lots of people say you can't wash mushrooms, you're not supposed to wash mushrooms. You can 100% wash mushrooms. Mushrooms are like mostly water. There's no issue with washing them. So wash them, completely dry them, and now we're gonna prep them. So you wanna go and take those mushrooms and remove the stems. Now you can use the stems in this recipe or not. I'm gonna freeze them and use it for a veggie stock later, but if you do use the stems, I recommend chopping them up and sauteing them so they really cook down, because you're gonna be piping stuffing mix into these mushrooms and you want whatever ingredients you're including to be as small as possible. Okay, so first thing you want to do is go ahead and just set your oven to 375 degrees, and we're going to take those mushrooms that you've prepped, you're going to put them on a quarter-size baking sheet, gill side up. Oh, and real quick thing about storing mushrooms too. So mushrooms, whatever packaging you get them at the grocery store, whether you buy them in bulk or if they're all wrapped up in plastic, take them out of that and put them in a paper bag. This is really key. So you want to put them in a paper bag, close up that bag, and put it in a cold part of the fridge. So the mushrooms, that bag is going to absorb any moisture, which prevents them getting kind of gross and slimy, and they will actually last a lot longer stored in your fridge that way. Now, as I mentioned, this is a wine pairing recipe. This is to go with Pinot Noir. This recipe is also sponsored by SIP Certified, which is pretty much responsible for a lot of the eco-friendly wines that you have available here in California. So if you're looking to drink green, I recommend checking out SIP Certified. They have a lot of information around just sustainable wine, wineries, and different vineyards that you can visit. So check them out. And I'm using one of their wines for this recipe, this Rath Pinot Noir. Okay, so now we're gonna make the stuffing to go inside these stuffed mushrooms, right? So here we go. You wanna start out with taking your cream cheese, which is softened, and adding in the chopped spinach. Once again, it's really important that this is finely chopped, so that way you can easily pipe it into the mushrooms. Add in chopped artichoke hearts, the sour cream, and some Parmesan cheese. Along with, we have our garlic cloves, some sea salt, and some black pepper. And you just want to mix all that until it's really, really nice and well combined. Once again, it's important to have these ingredients be as finely chopped as you possibly can, because this next step is going to require it. So, little storage tip for sour cream: if it's unopened, it's going to keep for about a week or so past the best by date, but once you open it, it's only going to last for a couple weeks. Key is store it in the coldest part of the refrigerator. You can freeze the sour cream, but it does change the texture. So I recommend, if you are going to freeze it, use it in things that you're gonna be mixing it into stuff versus dolloping onto things. So you could, use it for this kind of recipe where you're mixing into the stuffing, or if you're making sour cream pancakes or whatever it may be, but you might not wanna, say, put it on top of tacos if you're using frozen sour cream. Okay, so you have your stuffing. We're gonna transfer it to a plastic bag. Just squeeze it down into the corner of one of the bags and snip off about a 1/2 inch in there so you can pipe that stuffing into the mushrooms. And just go ahead and just overstuff those mushrooms. Now, if you probably will be left over with a little bit of the stuffing mix, I recommend just grab some bread, toast it, smear it on. It's delicious just like that. So if any leftover stuffing, you can do that. But just overpipe those mushrooms so they're just really overstuffed. Now we're gonna make them nice and crunchy. So take a shallow bowl and add your PANKO breadcrumbs, and then you're just gonna take each mushroom, turn it upside down. This is kind of like the chocolate dip cones from Dairy Queen. Just turn it upside down and dip it in those PANKO breadcrumbs, and just do each one that way. Now, if you like a little bit of a crispier crunch on top of your mushrooms, you can mix in a little bit of olive oil into the PANKO breadcrumbs before you dip the mushrooms in there, but it's not required. So take those mushrooms, put them back on the baking sheet, you're gonna pop them in the oven, and you're gonna bake them for about 20 minutes. And at the very end, put it on the broiler on high and just broil them for a couple minutes, just get a nice golden brown crunch on top of those stuffed mushrooms. Okay, so I mentioned that this is a wine pair recipe to go with Pinot Noir, which I'm just gonna start pouring myself a little glass of right now. Pinot Noir is like in my opinion, the best Pinot Noirs are just a really wonderful blend of like red fruit, like cherry. They're a little mushroomy and kind of fungal and a little barnyardy. They sort of have like these different sort of competing flavors that just really work well together. Okay, so look at these great stuffed mushrooms. So that's all it takes to make this delicious, delicious stuffed mushroom recipe. This spinach artichoke dip stuffed mushrooms to go with a lovely, lovely Pinot Noir. Always drink green, drink sustainable wines, and I'll see you guys next time.